Okay, let's just dive right into it. Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever deployed a database on a virtual machine and wondered, where on earth did all my I/O performance just go? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking the KVM and QEMU storage stack. We're going to look at the underlying architecture, the benchmarks, and, most importantly, the software tuning you need to get your virtualized storage running as close to physical bare metal hardware speeds as humanly possible.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll take the 50,000-foot view. Then we'll compare KVM directly against bare metal. After that, we'll break down virtual disks, specifically raw versus QCO2. Then we're going to tune things up by looking at schedulers and threads, and finally, wrap it all together by fully optimizing your KVM stack. Let's get going.
All right, part one, the 50,000-foot view. Before we can start tuning anything, we really have to understand the path our data takes, right? So let's start with a macroscopic look at the architecture to visually anchor exactly where these storage bottlenecks are happening. I mean, why is your virtual machine storage so incredibly slow? This is the million-dollar question for every single system admin dealing with high I/O latency. You know the drill. You provision this massive, expensive storage array, you throw plenty of RAM at the guest OS, but the disk still just crawls. Well, the secret actually lies in the layers of translation between the guest operating system and your physical hardware.
Look at how this is laid out. The crucial point here is the actual journey of an I/O request. Think about it. A write request starts way up in the KVM guest kernel. It then gets handed off to QEMU, which acts on the guest's behalf to generate host I/O request. Then it drops down into the Linux host kernel, has to pass through its file system and block drivers, and finally, eventually, makes it out to the physical hardware. That is a massive amount of handoffs for just one single request.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The QEMU UMATEX. This essentially means only one thread can run QEMU code at a given time to generate those host I/O requests. This single-threaded emulation, it's a fundamental structural bottleneck. Even if you've got multiple virtual CPUs all trying to slam the disk with data simultaneously, they're basically forced into a single file line just to get their instructions processed by QEMU.
Moving right along to Section 2, KVM versus bare metal. We absolutely need to address this common myth that virtualization just inherently destroys storage performance. You hear it all the time, right? That you just have to accept a massive penalty. Well, let's see what the data actually has to say about that.
Take a look at this number from the FSSB benchmarks on a typical high-end storage setup. 0.89. Basically, KVM achieves a geometric mean throughput of 0.89 times that of bare metal. That means, if you configure it properly with direct I/O and pair virtualized drivers, KVM is handing you 89% of the raw, unadulterated speed of a physical server. That is huge.
And when you pan out and look at the wider data across all sorts of different I/O profiles, stuff like data streaming, random reads, mail servers, mixed database workloads, KVM vastly outperforms another popular hypervisor that's sitting way down around 0.53x. Across the board, KVM stays remarkably close to that bare metal baseline. So it really proves that with the proper tuning, virtualization overhead is actually super minimal, even when you're hammering it with intense mixed DB workloads.
Okay, Section 3, virtual disks, specifically raw versus QCOW2. This is where we dive into the classic trade-off framework where fancy features are constantly doing battle against raw, brute force performance. Choosing your file format is honestly one of the most impactful decisions you're going to make when deploying a VM. On one hand, you have the raw format. This gives you a direct, one-to-one offset mapping and pre-allocated speed without any extra work from the host. When your VM writes to a raw disk, boom, it maps directly to the backing file's offset. QCO2, on the other hand, gives you incredible flexibility. It allows for a base read-only image and unique copy-on-write images. This is fantastic, literally a lifesaver, if you need to quickly spin up, say, 100 identical desktop VMs from a single base state, saving you massive amounts of storage. But, you guessed it, that flexibility comes at a cost.
And those advanced features carry a pretty severe performance penalty. Look at this. While the raw format pushes KVM up to 1.62x throughput relative to the competing hypervisor, QCO2 drags it all the way down to 0.68x. The overhead of mapping those logical blocks, doing all the copy-on-write operations, and dynamically extending logical volumes, it absolutely tanks your throughput on heavily utilized disks.
So to try and solve this massive QCO2 performance drop, the QED format was proposed. The idea was to just strip out the rarely used features and bring that throughput back up. And it worked, getting it to 1.43x relative to competitors. It's essentially a sweet spot, a middle ground. If you need some of those advanced features, but you just cannot stomach the QCO2 performance hit, QED was designed to be that simpler, much more streamlined alternative.
All right, Section 4, tuning your schedulers and threads. Now that we have a good grasp on the formats, let's zoom in even further. We're going to get our hands dirty in the software stack and tweak the actual hypervisor and kernel parameters to fix those pesky latency issues.
Seriously, if you take nothing else away today, this is the most critical realization for your architecture. Emulated IDE just does not scale. It's a massive bottleneck because it can literally only support one single outstanding I/O request at a time. It honestly doesn't matter how fast your expensive enterprise storage array is. If your VM disk is configured to emulate an old-school IDE drive, you've just shrunk your massive data pipeline into a tiny one-lane dirt road.
And this visual proves it perfectly. Notice how the Virtuo block driver absolutely crushes emulated IDE. I mean, it's not even close, across every single thread count and workload. By using Virtuo pair of virtualized drivers, the guest OS actually knows it's virtualized, so it totally bypasses all that clunky legacy hardware emulation and communicates directly and super efficiently with the host.
Next up, let's talk about I/O schedulers. The data clearly shows that for enterprise storage systems, the deadline scheduler scales significantly better than CFQ. And yes, this applies right inside the KVM guest as well. CFQ, which stands for Completely Fair Queuing, tries to balance resources. But for high-throughput database ops or heavy concurrent VM loads, the deadline scheduler does a far superior job at guaranteeing requests are serviced efficiently. It just keeps that throughput consistently higher.
Also, when you're dealing with multiple threads, configuring Linux native AIO provides a noticeably better normalized throughput compared to thread-based AIO. Asynchronous I/O is absolutely vital for modern applications. For KVM and QEMU, flipping the switch to native Linux AIO drastically cuts down overhead compared to constantly spawning and managing separate user space threads for all those I/O operations.
Which brings us to Section 5, optimizing your KVM stack. Let's take all of this dense, heavy benchmark data we just went through and translate it into some rapid-fire, highly actionable tuning advice you can actually use.
Rule of thumb number 1. When configuring your underlying shared LUNs, especially if you're still on spinning media, you have to aggregate your total required I/O throughput first, rather than just obsessing over capacity limits. It's such a common pitfall. Admins will look at a massive 10 terabyte virtual disk and think, yep, we're good to go. But if that LUN is sitting on just a couple of physical spindles with limited write cache, your VMs are going to grind to a dead halt. You absolutely must stripe across enough physical disks to guarantee the I/O pipeline can actually support the capacity you're promising.
And when you're deploying heavily mixed I/O workloads, like databases for instance, the data strongly suggests bypassing the host cache entirely. You do this by setting cache equals none. Think about it. Database applications usually do their own really aggressive internal caching. If you leave the host cache turned on, you're just double caching your data. You're wasting precious host RAM, and you're actually increasing CPU overhead and latency. Setting cache equals none creates a nice, clean, direct path straight to the disk. So let's summarize the whole point of this explainer. If you want top-tier performance, implement these specific best practices. Ditch IDE immediately and use VirtIO. Ditch CFQ and implement the deadline I/O scheduler. Enable Linux native AIO instead of threads. Stick to raw format for pure raw speed and only use QCO2 when you really need it for VDI pools. Always set cache to none for your databases. Make sure X2 APC support is enabled for better interrupt handling. And lastly, always size your underlying storage for throughput first. If you systematically apply this checklist to your hypervisor, you are going to reclaim massive amounts of performance that are otherwise just bleeding out to software overhead.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. If we can already push KVM to 89% of bare metal speeds just by using software tuning, what happens when you fully integrate all flash arrays into this optimized stack? When the mechanical, physical limitations of spinning disks completely vanish, this highly tuned, low-latency software stack becomes an absolute powerhouse. It really makes you wonder, at what point does the line between bare metal and virtualized storage just completely blur out of existence? Thanks so much for exploring the KVM storage stack with me today.